Welcome to With Honors, the Honors College podcast at Harding University, where we take questions from students. Today's comes from Amy Nance.
As Christians, what should be our responsibility for our physical body?
So because we're thinking about physical bodies and we're thinking about our responsibilities, probably in the wider sense, not just casual ethics, but even theologically, what are our responsibilities to ourselves, to society, and to God, I thought that the right person to bring on to talk about this would be Professor Justin Bland. You introduce yourself, tell us what you do at Harding.
Thanks, yes. So my name is Justin Bland. I teach in exercise and sports science department, and I've got upper level classes these days.
Tell me what kind of classes you do in like when I hear exercise,
Right.
I think,
like
is this guy
PE
teaching
or something
aerobics
like
or whatever?
that.
Or,
Sure.
yeah.
It's not that. We are preparing our students for allied health field. For the vast majority of them going in allied health field. So physical therapy, occupational therapy, physician's assistant, all of which we actually have programs at Harding for those things. Other things like that, athletic training, strength and conditioning, those types of things.
So your professional interest, I know I've heard you talk about things like the way that body systems work,
Right, yeah.
anatomy, some of that kind of stuff.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I think really where things click well for me is when I'm looking at the mechanisms of the human body. How has God designed the body? And I love it the most when I am able to see where physiology and theology overlap. That's fun stuff.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's where I get really excited.
Excuse me.
I get choked up too sometimes.
Most people I know who work in the medical industry or, like, say, physical therapy or health in general, or even like exercise, strength and conditioning, nutrition, that sort of thing, they all seem to say my favorite part is how amazing the body is. Like when you get to looking at it closely, the intricacy of it, the efficiency of it.
Yeah, the
It's just
wonder and
crazy.
awe. Yeah, it is. It is awe-inspiring when you study it. It's as far down as you want to go, as deep as you want to go. It is awesome. It is awesome.
So the question is, what are our responsibilities
Yeah.
toward our body? What are things that first come to your mind when, like, areas of our life when you hear responsibility toward our body? What do you think about?
Yeah, stewardship is one of the first things that I heard. It's a great question. What's our responsibility? How do we be a good steward? I kind of wrestle with it like this. We are to be good stewards of what we have been entrusted with what we've been entrusted. And so, here's an example. My son didn't want to brush his teeth. He was like 3 years old. But anyway, he didn't want to brush his teeth. So I said, let's say you were given this like beautiful Lego spaceship. He loved Legos and still does. Who doesn't? Beautiful. What if you were given this amazing, like the greatest Lego spaceship, right? And what if you smashed it against the wall? And he just got emotional. I didn't think it was going to get all that bad. But he was getting like, Dad, I would never do that.
Yeah. Is the spaceship in the other room?
Yeah, right, exactly. No, but I said, but that's why we brush our teeth. That was, pretty. Yeah. But we have been entrusted with this body, and people's bodies function at different efficiencies with different fitness. But you've been entrusted with this. It isn't yours, right? 1 Corinthians 4:7, right? What do you have that you haven't been given?
Yeah.
Right? And we've been given this body. And so what are our responsibilities? Stewardship is one of them.
That's just such an important insight. Very Christian and very different, I think, than how most people intuitively feel.
Sure.
We say, my body. This is my body.
We say that.
And we feel like, and there's a sense in which it's right.
Yes.
That the body that is mine, I have more control, responsibility, authority, legitimate ownership of than anything else.
Yes, but to a point. So here's the question I always ask. How long can you hold your breath?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe a minute, 2 minutes.
Okay, but keep going. But what's the answer for everybody? The answer for everybody is only as long as your body lets you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the body will take over.
Right. So is it yours?
That's good. Yeah, that's
good. But is it yours?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. Yes, it is. This This is me. I am my body. I'm not in my brain. I'm spread out. This is me. This is me. And yet, who owns it? Like, do
it
you
has its
own
own? It has its own
Yeah.
sort of will almost.
Sure, and I mean, and we can look at that from a physiological standpoint as different levels of cognition towards the cortex or towards the brainstem. However, the point remains, like we also know intuitively that we're borrowing this body. We should be good stewards of it.
That's good. And I think about like how we build it is all stuff that we take in. It's from the world.
Yes, it is.
That's outside of us that we're getting all the nutrition, all the whether it's sunlight and vitamins or food or whatever, water. We are taking things in and we're holding them for a little while, but we don't keep them forever.
That's right.
We're burning it up as energy and all that kind of stuff. So
that is profound.
It's a really different way of thinking about the body to say, I have responsibility to the body, to my body,
which is
because it's mine, but it's not ultimately mine or not only mine.
Right.
And also to say, like, those responsibilities, this body that is mine, I received from somebody else.
That's right.
And I take resources from other things and other people.
Right.
So that it really hits at that social connection.
Absolutely. God is community. Like, we are a part of this as well.
Yeah.
But let's not miss what you just said. Where did the stuff, like my body is made up of stuff. Where did it come from? How did it grow? What is this stuff that it's made up of? I mean, really, I ate it.
Yeah.
That's how I got
this. A nut off a tree.
That's right.
It was a
an
cow
apple
or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I actually ate, and what I ate became me. What I consume becomes me. This is Psalm 1, right? Blessed is the
Planted
one
by the waters. Yeah.
who meditates on the instruction of the Lord. Blessed is the one who meditates on the instruction of the Lord. Like, this more than I do, but meditate, like, it's a consumption word.
The chewing.
That's right. It's the chewing. The what you chew on becomes you. That person who does that is like a tree planted by streams of water. The person who's able to consume the instruction, the Torah of Yahweh, becomes this. It's the same. This is what I get so excited. It's the same thing. Like, what I consume. I'm not just talking about physical. I'm talking about the things that I'm allowing in myself. I become.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I think I hear, preachers or Christians talk about that in relation to media, or that kind of thing. But to talk about it as food is just a sort of profound thing.
Yes.
And this may be a tangent. I think about in the early church, Justin Martyr is writing his apology, and the Romans, one of the things they critique the Christians about is they say, you believe in the resurrection of a body, and we feed you to lions. And so you know what happens. And so it's like, well, the lion eats your body, then the lion, poops your body out, and then it becomes ground, and then grass grows in it, and then a cow eats the grass, and then somebody else eats the cow. Whose body is it? Who who gets the stuff? Like, those sort of questions were interesting, and Justin has this interesting response. He says, Justin Martyr, not Justin Bland.
Well, yeah,
he says,
I'm tracking with you.
But he says, that's a mistaken way of thinking about the nature of our bodies. And yet there's something really profoundly right about this connection, that this body that's close to us is still connected to other people and other animals and other, the whole world. St. Francis famously said to think about your body as a donkey. He said, brother ass, that's what it is. It's lovable. It's very useful. It carries you around, but also not the smartest thing.
Sure.
It has to be disciplined. It's willful and all that.
Yeah.
I remember reading that in C.S. Lewis, I think in his Four Loves book, and thinking, that's pretty good. Do you tend to think of our bodies? You said this earlier, your body is this thing that you've been granted for a little while, and you're a steward over it, but you also said, this is me. All of this is me.
I am my body.
So
at the same
you feel
time.
that tension in that.
I
Talk
do,
about that a little
yeah. So, again, you would know this more than I, but if I'm understanding what biblical scholars are talking about in the Hebrew Bible, in the Old Testament, your soul, that word is nephesh, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the meanings of that is throat, like your neck, Your soul is not this disembodied thing. That would be a pagan idea. Your soul is your body. It is your neck. Love the Lord your God with all your soul, with
Your breathing
everything
stuff,
that comes in. You love him with all of this. So we are embodied. This is me, is my body. If I were to have my arm chopped off, would I still be me? Yes, but also no. I would be different. I would be changed. I would be changed forever. And so I am me. I'm not disembodied. So there absolutely is this tension. I'm not sure I've got it all figured out, but the overlap between the spiritual and the physical is so tight. I don't know how exactly to separate it. I do believe that our bodies will be physically resurrected like Jesus' glorious body. The tomb was empty. His physical recognizable body came out of that tomb. And so I don't know how to separate all these things.
Yeah, I think that's there's a mystery here.
Yes.
And I don't know, even if you're not a Christian, people you can't be a human without the experience of disassociation from your body. Like your leg is asleep and you want it to move and it doesn't.
I know.
But then also like a deep sense of connection with the body where if somebody hits me in the face, I don't say, "Oh, you hit my body." I say, "You hit me."
That's right.
Or if we love somebody,
that's right.
They like this is the reason that sexual crime, or like in the same book where Paul's saying, everything you have, you've been given.
Yeah,
he's
the next
saying,
chapter, right?
Honor your body.
That's right.
Honor God with your body. The body's into the Lord. You're not your own.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And this is the reason that sexual purity is talked about.
That's right.
I think Christians have we've had a lot of focus over the years on bodies and responsibilities we have to them sexually.
Sure.
But I kind of suspect, just listening to you talk, Justin, that you think that those same principles apply far beyond the realm of the sexual aspects.
Absolutely.
Talk about that a little bit.
Okay. The question I want all my students to wrestle with, I want all of us to wrestle with is, how can I be most effective in the kingdom of God? Have you tried to help somebody move houses before? It sure would be nice if we were stronger and more fit. Like, the body that we have been entrusted with, part of our responsibility is to, whatever optimal is, move towards that so we can be effective. I am glad I can play tag with my sons and the neighborhood kids, right? That takes sprinting. They don't get tired. I do. But if I hadn't actually physically, literally practiced sprinting, I would not be able to connect in that particular way. And that's a very meaningful and important connection. It seems like this would be kind of important for us to wrestle with this. What does it mean to be as effective as possible in the kingdom of God? Is that not what we're called to do? And one of it is going to be, to the degree that you are capable and able, and to the ceiling that you've been entrusted, to operate as optimally as you can within what God has given you.
And that seems like a wisdom thing.
Sure.
Like there's not one way, like, oh, I've got to work out all this and bodybuild so that I'll be strong enough to move a piano if it falls on somebody. Sure. But also,
however,
you got to have some of that.
However, there are things that we know that do work. If you are not sleeping very well or appropriately, you are not going to be functioning. This is the law of the universe. When God says you are to Sabbath, he means it. And when we don't do it, we won't function as well. If we are outside his bounds of laws, we are accepting exile and death rather than the life that he has for us. If we don't exercise our bodies, we are choosing to operate less than what we should. Like when God said he placed humanity in the garden and he told humanity to work and keep it, right? To serve and protect. Yeah. Work. There was physical work to be done prior to the fall. It's a whole thing. You've spent a lot of time on that, I'm sure. But my understanding is, if there was work to be done, then work is a part of this optimal function that we have been given. And I think about exercise as physical work. And so how do I step into that? What's my role? By the way, if you are not actually using the body the way that God has designed it, it just won't function well. It won't. We have a whole upper level lecture on brain health and exercise. it is the mechanism. Exercise is the mechanism that addresses all these mental health issues that we're raging on about.
Yeah, I think I have a friend who struggles with depression and talks about, he's done a lot of different things. Different things are affected different people and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for him, he said that like intense exercise, running every day, et cetera, is really, really helpful.
Yeah, for example, some people may know this, but the stress response includes an increase in cortisol. Cortisol is made biologically inert by exercise. Biologically inert means it's not cortisol anymore, it's cortisone, and it doesn't cause the stress response. So we are actually talking about the physical mechanism of your body handling stress. Stress is a response to a perceived threat. Perceived is optimal word here. Perceived threat. How do you prepare for a perceived threat? You are going to engage in battle. That is exactly what your body is preparing for. And if you choose to then not engage in battle, but continue to sit, you're going to burn up your engine. And so we talk about the body as like an engine. If you just hold your brake down, or put it even better, throw the vehicle in neutral and then hit the gas. How's that going to go?
Yeah.
This is exactly what the stress response is. What you need to do is put it in drive and do the thing that your body's preparing you for.
Battle?
Anyway, yes, do battle. Yes.
But like with the weights, not with
Well, maybe wrestle with people. Maybe. Seriously. Like,
yeah.
Maybe. It just depends on what the appropriate context is. But it could be running, whatever is appropriate for you. But you have to engage in a physical process to allow the body to handle the stress that you are perceiving.
I'm thinking about, of course, I'm a theologian, and you're a deeply Christian person and study this stuff too. So I'm thinking about like all these responsibilities we have towards God, and then I hear you also saying this is a responsibility you had just how to maintain the machine, so to speak, that you've been given here. But I also want to go back to something you were saying about, like, if somebody needs you to help them move. This is most of my life feels like has been moving folding chairs from one room in a church building to another one.
Yeah.
Or I have a big family, lots of cousins, and somebody's always moving. You're always helping people move. Like, we think about our bodies as our own thing, and other people, we can decide, do I want to help this person or not? And my own choice, my own body come before that. But that really feels kind of like a selfish, isolated way of being.
Sure.
I'm thinking about just what are our responsibilities toward our body, given the fact that we live in community, that we have neighbors, that we have kids, or we have older parents, or we have little brothers and sisters. How does that social dimension change the way we think about our responsibility toward our body?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the direction you want us to go, but I still think that preparing ourselves to be as effective as possible in those environments is appropriate. And so whatever people even mean about self-care, what it should mean is preparation for service in the kingdom. And so are you understanding the gift that God has entrusted to you in such a way as you can then use it to serve Him? So that would mean picking up heavy things. And that would mean being able to walk in a way that can help other people. Again, if you can. It depends on what you've been entrusted with.
Some of us are given a Ferrari.
That's right.
Just when we come into the world, and others are given, a Ford Plymouth or something.
Or even, not even that, right? But just imagine, I was thinking about this, Exodus 3. I was thinking about this recently. Exodus 3, when God is speaking to Moses, and Moses is like, I am not eloquent. Well, what's God's response to that? God's response is, who made man's mouth? And then he says, who made him deaf, mute, seen, and blind? Was it not I, Yahweh? Like 3 of those 4 things we would say would be disabilities, and God's bragging about it. And so it's like all we're talking about here is what have you been entrusted with, and then using that as effectively as you can in the kingdom, which first, in my mind, includes the people in the kingdom, and then it is inviting to people into that kingdom. And so I think it is actually picking up heavy things and being cardiovascularly healthy, sufficiently healthy enough to be able to physically assist, mowing lawns, clipping, whatever, doing yard work or moving things, whatever that might be, playing with individuals.
Yeah, I like this as we're thinking about it, that it's not just you should do this so you'll be healthy and feel good.
No.
Though that does feel like an important piece of it.
Yes.
Not just somebody might need you. I think about a friend of mine who we were talking about drinking, and he said, what if I'm just, so what if I get drunk, but I'm at home by myself, it's not hurting anybody? That's a legitimate question. But I remember saying, what if someone calls and needs you?
Yeah.
What if your mom calls and needs someone to talk to, and you're not ready for that? We can go overboard with this because we
Certainly.
are not going to be competent and ready to help every situation always.
That's right.
We do have limited resources in terms of all sort of things. But it also is the case that we got to be thinking about. We got to be kind of on call to the world. And man, this conversation could go so many directions. We could talk about what we owe mentally and what do we owe with our academics or our spiritual life and such. But just because in the interest of time we're wrapping up, tell me if you were aiming, you said some of this, I think, implicitly, Justin, but if we want to fulfill our responsibilities toward our bodies or that we have with our bodies, what are, 3 or 4 things that you'd say students or other people listening to this podcast, you should work on doing these things in order to fulfill your responsibility? Concrete advice.
Concrete is getting enough sleep in the right time on schedule. That's essential. There was evening and morning the first day, right? The Jewish idea of a day started at night, and so the appropriate amount of sleep is paramount with the appropriate schedule. Moving, being active every day in some way is significant. If you are not lifting weights, you should. There's just not a person I can imagine that would not benefit from lifting weights. And so it doesn't need to be excessive, but we do need to be picking up heavy things. And so we would call that, we need aerobic fitness, we need resistance training involved with that a couple days a week or something like that. But those are, schedule it and then do it. But you start with something that you can do. You don't start with something ridiculous. What can you do? And you might only be able to do 5 minutes of walking. That would be a good place to start. Literally, something very tiny like that.
Sleeping, exercise, any word about food, nutrition, that kind of thing?
Of course. I mean, this is a whole huge topic. I'm not a nutritionist, but we know that staying away from processed foods seems optimal. Fresh foods are crazy expensive, but that seems optimal. And everyone has their own dietary needs but generally speaking, fruits and vegetables are a good place to go. Vegetables are great. There's lots going on there. Obviously, protein's coming back in fad, which is funny to me, but it's obviously important. So, appropriate amount of protein is.
And I think about, the one that's hard for me is not like, I like all those things.
Yeah.
The thing that's hard for me is to say,
what amount?
Yeah, that's enough.
Sure.
To have enough and to say that's enough, and with exercise to say that's not enough.
Right. Yeah.
And a friend of mine, this is for old people like me, but I was trying to lose some weight talking to a doctor friend of mine on a long walk. And he said, how's it going? I said, that's all right. I just am hungry all the time. He said, I think losing weight in middle age is walking around hungry.
Yeah.
But I also think if I'd not developed the habits of eating everything I wanted whenever I wanted when my metabolism was insane in my 20s, it'd be different now.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much more we can say about this, about
Agreed.
the responsibility to our body, to our neighbors, to God. But man, I love your passion, and you clearly have just thought so deeply about this.
Appreciate
Thanks
that.
for coming on and sharing with
man.
the students.
Love it. Appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll catch you next time on With Honors.